It's baseball time in Hayesville. Todd Hook along with Kayla Jost, producer-director today. Campus Colts versus the Derby Panthers. Today's game brought to you by USD 261, Crafty Pie, Valley State Bank, Stompin' Rounds Coffee, Campus Yearbook and Newspaper, hookbats.com, Campus High School International Baccalaureate Program, Campus IVID, Channel 060, and the Campus Counseling Center. Panthers comes in 8-4 overall, 4-2 in district play. They are coached by Todd Olmstead. Here's how they'll go. Hunter Igo will lead it off and play shortstop. Grant Adler will be on the mound and hit second. Jackson Searing will be out in center, and hitting in the cleanup spot will be Alex McGill. He will do the catching. The designated hitter will be Bo Rodriguez. Hitting sixth will be Brett Westerman. He will play second base. Alex Jacobs will be over at third base. Braden Paxton will be over at first, and Noah Johnson will be in left field. Defensively for the Colts, left to right in the outfield, Walter, Leslie, and Hahn. Hartley will be at third base, Common over at short. Martin's at second base, Warkins at first base, Martinez doing the catching, and on the mound will be Luke Sherman. Numbers for Sherman, 11 innings of work this year. Tall left-hander. He's given up 13 hits, 7 runs, 7 of which were earned. Couple of walks, very accurate, and he has struck out 15. Weather conditions here in Hayesville, clear skies, windy. Wind is blowing out at about 25, gusting to 35.
Number 4, Hunter Igo.
Temperature in low 80s. This is the first of 2, and here we go. You're going to want to stay tuned. Myron Regier, longtime principal at campus, will be joining us for an exclusive interview. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Expect that in a couple of innings. Here's Hunter Igo, hitting .244. First pitch is low, ball 1. Campus in their white bottoms and black tops. Derby in their green tops and white bottoms. Second pitch is low, ball 2. Martinez going to go out and talk to him. Kind of an uncharacteristic start for Luke Sherman. Colts 9-4 overall. They've won 3 of their last 5. And that's low, ball 3. So 3 straight balls from Sherman. Campus is tied for second in the league, and that's wide, and a 4-pitch walk to Igo. And that's how Derby will start it.
Batting second for the Panthers, pitcher number 3, Grant Adler.
Kayla, welcome to the broadcast. This is your second time on the air with us. We appreciate you setting everything up. Here's Grant Adler. Comes in hitting .257. Adler on the mound today. He hits second. Steps in from the right side, not a very big lead. Shows bunt and takes a strike. So Sherman gets ahead in the count. No balls and 1 strike. Derby 8-4 overall. And they have won 3 of their last 5. They're coached by Todd Olmstead. Deep in left, straight away in center. Not too deep in right. And that's low. That'll even it up 1-1. We will have an exclusive interview with Myron Regier. He will join us sometime in the innings to come, and we will have a discussion during the first game of his experience in 38 years of education. You're going to want to stay tuned for that. Throw over to first, and he's back in time. Igo over at first base, drew a 4-pitch walk from Sherman. And that is inside. Squirts away from Martinez, and Igo will be down to second on the passed ball. We will score that one. The passed ball, very uncharacteristic for Martinez. Looks like Sherman may have crossed him up a little. Derby comes in hitting .272 as a team. And they're giving up about 3.5 runs. That's bounced to the left side. Gets through for a base hit. Runner had to hold up to make sure it's going to go through. Igo over to third. And that is a Base hit for Adler. Runners at the corners now with nobody out. Campus in a little bit of a trouble here in the top of the first. Just underway
Number 10,
here
center fielder, Jackson Searing.
from the Carp here in Hayesville. Here's Jackson Searing. Searing, the center fielder, hitting .300. Searing leading the club with home runs. He has 2. And the pitch. That is low. Ball 1. Squirts away from Martinez. Not far enough for anybody to advance. Colts look a little tight today, Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe everybody's still shaking off the weekend. I'm not sure. It wasn't prom, so don't have that to blame it on. That's in there for a call strike. Looked like a delayed steal situation. And Tyler Common unable to hang on to the baseball. That was a pretty poorly executed delayed steal. Did not catch Martinez off guard. Throw was in time. And Common unable to manage the throw and hold on to it. And second and third. That's a stolen base for Adler. Searing with an opportunity to drive in 2 right here. And the pitch. Off-speed pitch misses inside, and that looks like that hit him. Looks like that got a piece of Searing's elbow.
The catcher, number 9, Alex McGill.
Bad news now for the Colts. They're loaded up, nobody out. Coach Klassen is going to go make a trip to the mound. So it looks
Or is
like
that good news?
Not sure that's real good news, Kayla. When we're going to the mound in the top of the first without an out.
He's heated.
Looks like a one-way conversation. This visit to the mound brought to you by the Campus High School Counseling Center. Call or stop by today, 554-2240. I've heard they had the best counseling aides in the state in there.
Me too.
You've heard the same thing? Okay.
I think I've met a couple.
Have you now?
Yeah.
Smart kids. They do all the work.
Yep.
Here's Alex McGill, the cleanup guy, hitting .259, doing the catching today. Looks like the Colts are going to play at about medium depth. And he takes a strike. That's a good sign from Luke Sherman. Looks like first baseman's going to play back behind the runner, about halfway in the middle. Off-speed pitch misses inside, 1-1. Top of the first from the Carp in Hayesville. No score, Derby threatening. Bases are loaded, nobody out. That is inside. 2 balls and a strike. They are deep in left field. Walter is very deep. That is in there for a strike. 2-2 now to Alex McGill, hitting .259. And the 2-2. Off-speed pitch just missed inside, almost hit him. And it's full. Very, very windy day here at the Carp. Wind is blowing out. 25 to 30 mile an hour, and that is wide, and he'll lose him. And credit McGill with an RBI, and he will walk a man in. Igo will score. Everybody will move up 90 feet.
The DH, number 19, Bo Rodriguez.
Here's Bo Rodriguez, the designated hitter. Hits from the left side. Left on left matchup. There's a little bright spot there. This would be the situation you'd want to have, left on left. Infield is up halfway, and he takes high, ball 1. Panthers have yet to get a base hit here in the top of the first. Bases are still loaded. Nobody out. Good fastball at the knees for strike 1. Ball and a strike, nobody out. Looks like they'll play for the double play ball here. That is wide, ball 2. Got to wonder just how much the wind is affecting his movement and release point. And the 2-1 is wide. 3 balls and a strike. Out of the stretch position and the wind like that, it's hard to get your release point in the same spot every time. 3-1. We'll see if he can battle back. Here it is. Swung on and missed. Looking dead red on that one was Rodriguez. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sherman in need of a strikeout right here. And the 3-2.
That boy.
Just missed low, and that'll walk another one in.
Awesome coming out.
Okay.
It's awesome coming out. Yep, that's it.
He's done.
Third walk of the inning. Looks like Coach Klassen will be coming out of the dugout. Wholesale changes to come. We'll let you know as soon as it's going on.
McMullen.
Looks like
Aw.
McMullen will come in, a left-hander. Looks like
One, right?
Caden
Your attention,
McMullen.
please. Now pitching number 1, Caden McMullen. McMullen now pitching for the Colts.
Looks like Caden McMullen will come in. He is a left-hander. We'll get his numbers in just a moment.
Is it iron or Ian?
Who?
Kieran McMullen, Ian or iron?
I think it's
but
iron.
Let's see. It is.
I think it's
I think, I don't know.
That's what I think too.
It is.
McMullen will come in. He'll inherit an entire
It's Ian.
Yep, I was right. I was correct. 1-1.
bases loaded on us.
Did you know Richard Elliott's assistant principal at campus?
Is he now?
What's that, Carl?
Kayla, we got to get out of the inning here. We've
Denisha.
really
Did he come to the game the other night, or did he go fishing?
inherited a mess here. So we'll see how he responds to that.
Seniors.
All right, it'll be up to Caden McMullen to put out the fire here. He will face Westerman, Jacobs, and Paxton.
Second baseman number 5, Brett Westerman.
So Adler scores. That makes a 2-0 derby. Still yet to get a base hit. We'll see how McMullen responds to this one. Base runners on base are Sherman's responsibility. First pitch is high, ball 1. And that's low, ball 2. So we're in a hole already. And that's in there for a call strike. 2 balls and a strike now to Brett Westerman. Westerman hitting .267. Playing second base today. Chance to get a lead. That is driven to left center. That'll get in the hole and roll all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. And here comes the 3rd run. And Westerman in there with a 3 RBI triple. And that was a backbreaker for the Colts. Big ballpark here at campus. That rolled all the way to the wall. Got in the gap in a hurry. First hit of the ball game for the Panthers. And they now lead it 5-0.
Number 11, Alex Jacobs.
Nobody out. Here's Alex Jacobs.
Yes. You're good.
First pitch to Jacob is driven to left field. That's a solid base hit. That's going to get by the left fielder, roll all the way to the wall. Westerman will score. Jacobs will stand up at second base with a double. And just like that, Derby leads at 6-0. We're in the top of the first. Nobody out yet. campus in a little bit of a jam here early.
Batting 8th for the Panthers, number 22, first baseman, Braden Paxton.
And here's Braden Paxton.
And we still have no outs.
Seriously, that's crazy.
Oh my god, we have none.
There you go.
I knew they were gonna help us.
Are we back on?
Oh shit, it comes now.
Off-speed pitch to Paxton in there for a called strike. That'll even it up 1-1. Good overhand curveball from McMullen. He will need to change speeds a little bit with this Derby bunch to keep them off balance. Paxton hitting 167. Just missed inside. 2 balls and a strike now. McMullen, 8 innings of work. He's given up 8 runs, 6 of which were earned. 6 walks and 8 strikeouts. 5.25 ERA to date. That is fisted foul. One thing you can say about McMullen, he's been pounding the zone. However, Derby has been responding. They lead at 6-0. We're in the top of the first. And he bluffs a throw to second base. And chases Jacobs back. Well, if there's any good news for the Colts, is Myron Regier has stepped in, and he will be joining us in just a moment. If we can ever get out of this inning. Still windy out, boss?
Whew, crazy. Yes. Kansas Spring.
2 balls and 2 strikes, nobody out, runner at second base. Colts in a jam. They trail at 6-0. Off-speed pitch just missed outside. Pretty good spot by McMullen. Didn't get the call. Now 3-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Derby will send 9 men to the plate at least. McMullen in dire need of a strikeout right here. A lot of room in right center. That is fisted foul. Good fastball from McMullen. It looks like he's just going to challenge him. Paxton hitting a $167. He's hitting in the 8th spot. I say challenge him. Kayla, you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kayla agrees. It's always good. And here's the 3-2. Off-speed pitch misses high and another free pass. So Paxton will walk. And the Panthers have him loaded here in the top of the first. Nobody out.
Top of the order for the Panthers, shortstop, number 4, Hunter Igo.
So Derby will turn the lineup over right here in the top of the first. Here's Hunter Igo. Walked and scored in the first. Takes a pitch high, ball 1.
We almost just lost internet right there.
Almost, but we got it back.
Got it.
Got it back.
I'm magic.
You are magic. And that's in there for a call strike. That'll even it up 1-1. Good to have a great producer-director. I might be able to plug it in. That's as far as it goes. We'll thank a few sponsors after this, and then we'll bring in Mr. Regier. Talk to him a little bit about his career. There's a good overhand curveball from McMullen for a strike. 1-2 now. 1-2. That is bounced to the left side. Coming up with it over to first. In time, a run will score. So Jacobs will score. Everybody else will move up 90 feet. And Igo is retired.
So 1 run.
1 run, yep. Okay.
1 out now in the inning. Here's Grant Adler.
Pitcher
Singled
number 3,
and
Grant
scored
Adler.
in the first. Adler hitting 257. Base runners at second and third, and that'll get through there for a base hit. Good sharp hit through the left side, and 2 runs will score. So that'll be a base hit for Adler, his second of the game. Actually, second of the inning. Base hit earlier in the inning, 1 out.
We hope they don't score anymore because we can't put 10 up there.
Scored out 9-0, 1 out in the
Center
top
fielder
of the
number 10,
first.
Jackson Searing.
And here's Jackson Searing, hit by pitch and scored earlier in the inning, actually about 15 minutes ago. Well, we get to hit too, Kayla, eventually.
Yeah,
So stay tuned for that. Got a lot of offense.
it'll get there.
It'll get there. Derby 8-4, throw to first, not in time. McMullen loses his hat. Might have to get some chin straps. Ought to have coach, football coach, bring us over some chin straps. Good lead over at first, and that is wide, ball one.
Oh.
One out runner at first. 9 runs across so far for the Panthers. No mercy on us today. McMullen took over for Sherman. Sherman did not give up, and a out. And gave up 6. And the pitch. Good off-speed pitch in there for a call strike. Ball and a strike. 1 out, runner at first base. The top of the first from the Carp in Hayesville. Outfield straight away and deep. That is popped up. Left side. Catcher giving chase. Martinez unable to come up with it. 1-2 now. Well, stay tuned. We'll be joined by Myron Regier as soon as this half inning has concluded, and we'll talk about his 38 years in the business and what's next for him, so you don't want to miss that. Some of these stories may be true. I want to stay tuned for that.
No promises.
They doubt us?
I don't know why they doubt us.
I do.
Ball and 2 strikes. Oh, that's inside. That hit him. So it looks like Searing will wear one for the second time today.
Coming out.
Yep.
50 Shades of Red.
Looks like we're going to have a visit to the mound by Coach Klassen. We'll see what he's going to do. Looks like he's going to make the change. Looks like
Ryan Martinez.
Yes.
Looks like Ryan Martinez
Your attention, please.
will take
now
over.
pitching for the Colts, Ryan Martinez. Martinez now pitching for Campus.
He will come in with runners at first and second. A left-hander. We'll get you his numbers in just a moment. Martinez 5 2/3 innings of work so far this year. He's given up 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 of which were earned. 5 walks and 8 strikeouts. Left-hander, 3.70 ERA. So he'll be called upon to try to put the fire out here in the top of the first. 9 runs across.
How many outs?
1 out.
1? Wow.
1 out here in the top of the first. This is not exactly Campus Colt baseball, Kayla. Not what we signed up for. He'll face McGill, Rodriguez, and Westerman if anybody gets on. So Martinez takes over from McMullen. Left-hander. At 5'8", 170. Any lighter, he couldn't play. Windy as it is.
Right?
Big ballpark here, Kayla. That's the only saving grace. 335 down the
Away from
line.
Panthers, the catcher, number 9, Alex
375 in
McGill.
the alley and about 1.5 miles to center. So with this wind blowing out, we'll see what happens today. We've already had a ball get through earlier. 4 hits on the afternoon. Most of them have come from a couple of hit by pitches. And 1, 2, 3 walks. Those are the kind of things that will shorten the lifespan of a baseball coach right there. Walks and hit by pitches. Here's Alex McGill. walked and scored earlier in the inning, hitting .259, and he takes a strike. Good start by Martinez. He will need to fill it up. Runners at first and second, 1 out. He inherited those runners from McMullen. That is bounced to the left side, foul. No balls and 2 strikes. This is the first time a Colt pitcher has been ahead in the count like this. So what we'll have you do is we'll have you just slide in right here, stand right there, and we'll talk to you.
Gotcha.
Don't forget, Myron Regier will be joining us after this half inning, after Kayla gets done with paying some bills. We have bills, Kayla.
Bills.
Yeah. I guess I'm talking commercials here. Off-speed pitch bounce to the left side. Yeah, one ate up Hartley. That was one of those in-between hops. A run will score. That will be scored an error. That was one Hartley probably should have come and got, but he waited back on it. And another run will score.
Error for the whole team. Yeah, that's fine. Just leave that up there like that. Now, can you put 10 up in the runs column? I think you can, but I'm not sure.
First and second now.
See the far runs column?
10-0 Derby. We're still in the top of the first. That was a tough hop over there for Hartley. The only chance he had at that one was to come get it on the short hop. Wasn't unable to do that.
Number 19, the DH.
And at 80
Rodriguez.
Here's Bo Rodriguez.
No, one error.
He's a designated hitter. Walked and scored earlier in the inning. Steps in from the left side. Left on left matchup. And he takes a pitch low, ball 1. Colts in a hole, 10-0. We're in the top of the first. 4 hits for Derby, 1 error for the Colts. Mostly walks and hit by pitches have been the culprit. That's an off-speed pitch in there for a strike at the letters, 1-1. Looks like they have a runner hung up.
Almost.
And the runner goes to third. That will be Searing over to third. They had him hung up there on a pickoff play. Unable to make the exchange at second base and back to third. Good base running by Searing to get over to third. Good instincts on that. First and third now. McGill over at first. Off-speed pitch. That's good. Off-speed pitch on the inner half for a strike. 1-2. Luke Sherman started it out and was unable to get an out. Gave up 6 runs. McMullen gave up 3. And now Martinez in there. That ball's in the dirt. And the runner down to second. Good anticipation by Gill. Read that ball in the dirt very well. And was able to get down to second base. Second and third now, 1 out. 1-2 on the hitter, Rodriguez.
2 balls, 1 strike.
Correction, that's 2-1. Informed by the crack staff here in the booth. That is bounced to the left side. Common to his right. Picks it up, tosses to Hartley. For the, wasn't a force out, that was a tag. And it looks like Hartley was unable to hang on to the baseball.
So I got another one.
Yes.
And Searing will score. McGill tried to go to third on that one. The only play that Common had was to go to third base on that play. Not a really good base running play by McGill. He got away from it. Hartley unable to hold on, and Rodriguez will reach on the fielder's choice.
Second baseman number 5, Brett Westerman.
First and third now, 11-0. We're in the top of the first. Looks like the umpires are going to talk about it. I hope they don't talk too much because I've already written this in ink, Kayla. I guess you don't do any math or baseball scoring in ink. Looks like the safe call will stand. Looks like we got a review from New York, Kayla, and they're going to go ahead and uphold the call there. We don't have anybody in New York, but nobody really knows that on the other end, do they? Well, I guess they know now.
Hey, now they heard you.
Okay, first and third, 1 out, 11-0. Here it is. That's in the dirt low, ball 1. Westerman with a triple earlier in the inning and scored. He's hitting .267 coming in at the start of the day. 1 out, and that's in the dirt. 2 balls and no strikes. Gotta wonder how many pitchers we got left. 2-0, here it is. That is in there for a called strike. Two balls a strike, 1 out, first and third. Long top of the first here in Hayesville. That's wide, 3-1. Campus will be at Salina South tomorrow for 2, so you got to conserve a few arms for that one. That is swung on and missed, and that'll get the count to 3-2. Martinez in a need for a strikeout right here. 3-2, that is off the glove of Hartley. That'll go as a base hit. Another run will score. And that was hit very sharply by Westerman. Tried to backhand it over there at third base by Hartley. It's off his glove and into left field. So Westerman will be down to second base. That'll be a hit.
Number 11, the third baseman, Alex Jacobs.
12-0 now, Derby. We're still in the top of the first. And the first pitch to Jacobs is high, ball 1. Jacobs with a double and scored earlier in the inning. Comes in hitting .219. And the pitch, that is into center field, popped up. And Leslie ranging to his right and hauls it in. Rodriguez tags and scores, and we have 2 outs. 2 down for Braden Paxton.
Number 22, Braden Paxton, first base. Yes.
Score now 13-0. Derby, we're in the top of the first. 2 outs now. Sixteenth man to bat any order this inning. And Paxton takes a strike. You don't say that too often. One of those days, folks.
We can blame it on the wind.
What I'm going with. That is low, ball 1. That leaving it up 1-1. Paxton walked and scored earlier in the inning, hitting .167. Playing a little first base today. That is wide. 2 balls and a strike.
Do you guys want anything from the concessions? Burgers and hot dogs.
2-1, 2 outs, runner at second base. Here it is. That is in there for a strike. That'll even it up 2-2. After we thank our sponsors, Myron Aguirre will be joining us to talk about retirement, stocks, bonds, whatever you call in about, he'll talk about. Farming. That pitch is wide, 3-2.
Oh, we need to get this out.
Yeah.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. This is going on a 30-minute half inning, folks. That is swung on, bounced to the right side. First baseman up with it, over to Martinez, in time covering, and that'll do it.
Good inning for the Panthers, 13 runs on 5 hits. There was 1 error.
Panthers get 13 here in the top of the first. They lead at 13-0. We'll be right back right after this.
Colt Baseball is brought to you by USD 261, serving students in a safe and caring environment while providing a rigorous and world-class curriculum. USD 261 educates students K through 12 through the use of collaboration, exploration, and relevance to ensure student success come first. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook or schedule a tour today. and by the yearbook staff, the official yearbook of Campus High School, working hard to capture this year's adventures. Don't miss out. Order your yearbook at jostensyearbooks.com or see Miss Corcoran and D8.
And thank you, Kayla. Here's how campus will go. Tanner Leslie will lead it off and play left center field. Austin Warkins will hit second. Jackson Hartley will hit third, and the cleanup spot will be Mateo Martinez. Tyler Common will hit fifth. Caden Usidro, the designated hitter, will hit sixth. In the seventh spot will be Cole Martins. He'll be over at second base. Corey Hahn will play right field, and Rylan Walter will hit ninth and play left field. We're joined now by Myron Regier. He is just finishing up a 38-year history with education, and we're lucky to be joined by him. A career that started in 1980. 1980. Coach, where were you at in 1980?
Canton Galva High School, east of McPherson.
Is that where that's at? I was wondering where that was at.
Between McPherson and Hillsboro, yes.
How big of a school was that?
1A, 2A.
Okay, so
the
small
last,
school.
The last 2 years I was there, we actually played 8-man football.
All right.
So about 119 kids in school.
I'd take 119 right now. Well, we're pleased to have you. We're just going to talk a little bit as we go along. Here's Tanner Leslie. He steps in. Colts are in a hole, 13-0 here. We're in the bottom of the first. Leslie hitting .491 at the start of the day. So Canton Galva, you were a teacher. What'd you teach?
I taught government, U.S. history, and phys ed.
Cool.
So,
and drove the bus?
I did drive bus, yes.
Any bus driving stories?
Not very well.
Not very well?
Not very well, yeah.
Didn't get any stern notes from the highway patrol, did you?
That was my job at football games. I drive the equipment bus, and I remember our first time out, I made the lead bus driver angry because I forgot to turn off the brights.
Oh boy, yeah.
So he gave me a talking to when we got to our first ball game.
You remember where that first ball game was?
At Hope, Kansas.
Where's that at?
It's up close to Manhattan.
Okay, so that's quite a drive then.
Yes.
Drive all the way with the brights on. At least your turn signal wasn't on.
That's why he wasn't happy with me.
He wasn't happy with you. In small schools, you do a little bit of everything, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. A class sponsor, help build floats, just about everything.
Oh boy.
Yep. A lot of good people there.
Yep. And that is dumped into right field, and that'll be a leadoff base hit for Leslie. Coach, there you go. With the ball rolling right here. The leadoff man on. That'll bring up Warkins.
First baseman Austin Warkin.
Playing a little bit of first base today for us. So you started out in a small school and did some coaching, did some teaching. Government, was that one of your favorites?
Government, U.S. history. U.S. history was my favorite.
U.S. history, your favorite?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Warkins takes a strike. Ball, that'll be no balls and a strike. So U.S. history. And you continued that, I assume, you went on to boys basketball over at Derby, 1984.
That's correct, yeah.
They're the enemy, you know.
Well, Jackson Searing's father played basketball for me.
Oh boy! So
yeah, you announced
how
his
about
name
that?
there. Yes, he was a great player.
Cool. Any stories you might want to share?
Yeah, he played on a very good team. That team that eventually got beat in in the sub-state final by South High.
Wow.
Team that had Val Barnes and Steve Woodbury playing for it.
Man, there's some names right there.
We lost to him in a close game. Yeah, I remember that.
That was some good old days there. So you've kind of seen it go full circle right here, then, haven't you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
It's good to see your kids that you had do well. It sounds like those kids have done well.
Yep.
That is swung on, dumped into center field for a base hit, so the Colts have something cooking. That's a base hit for Warkins, first and second, nobody out, and just like that, Colts, I think, got hit in the mouth a little bit, and now
Number
they're going to
16,
respond.
Jackson Hartley.
So we're up to Derby now, and you've kind of talked a little bit about leaving that, and always opportunities. The next step was always opportunities, right?
That's correct.
That's kind of how things went for you. So I think that's kind of how everybody does it, unless they park a U-Haul in your front porch, and then you're not leaving for opportunity. All right, here's Jackson Hartley. He takes a strike. He is hitting .333. Hartley over that third base today. So you've seen a lot of changes since 1980, I assume. Anything that you want to comment on? Some of the changes you've seen over the years.
Well, I think just in general in schools, I think instruction is a lot better than what it used to be. You know,
You
when I started teaching, it was still a lot of note taking and direct instruction, what we call direct instruction. Today, we have a lot more authentic learning, a lot more project-based learning, those types of things, which I think kids learn better that way. And so I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard, just in general in the education field.
We do a lot of work around there with projects, don't we, Kayla?
Yeah, we do.
You want to comment on those, Eddie? You've been involved with a lot of them.
I mean, I agree with what he said. It's a lot easier to learn with hands-on learning and working with others on projects that we actually want to work on. So I think that's it's a lot better whenever you actually want to work on it.
Yeah.
Instead of listening to a teacher talk for a while.
Going behind him.
Hartley took a pitch behind him. I think he was throwing that one at the bull. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hartley. We're here with Myron Regier, finishing up 38 years, talking about some of the changes. You put computers in there. When we started back in 1980, NASA had all the computers.
Absolutely. Well, at Canton Galva High School, we had one.
Okay.
We had one. Now, I remember my wife is a math computer science major. We both went to Bethel College. And in her major field, they actually, all those kids had to share one computer.
Boy.
And that's what their major was. So they would have to go up to this room in the administration building, and that's how they would learn to
Catcher number 20, Mateo Martinez.
learn Fortran and different computer languages like that. Yeah.
I remember the word Fortran. That was, oh boy, that was bad stuff. Now, we're not old enough to remember punch cards, though, right?
I remember punch
I
cards.
remember them, but I don't.
That's how we
remember.
enrolled at Wichita State when I first started working on my master's. We had punch cards.
All right.
Yep.
Well, the Colts are going to get one on a wild pitch right here. Leslie will score. Everybody else will move up 90 feet. Here's Mateo Martinez hitting 421.
Ball 1.
So Martinez takes ball 1. That gets off the glove of McGill. And Colts are on a board, 13-1. We're in the bottom of the first. Nobody out, second and third. And the pitch to Martinez in the dirt. Martinez hitting 421, so they're going to be careful with him. So computers are something that's changed and student-centered. Anything else on changes that you want to talk about?
Well, I think we try and pay a lot more attention to the social, emotional needs of our students.
I agree.
I think we've learned that that's very important, and for kids to learn anything, they have to be okay in that area when they come to school. So we continue to work on that, and that's a very important area. We need to take care of the emotional needs of our students.
I think we do work very hard on safety. And our kids feeling good.
And we're lucky at campus. The counseling department, which you're a part of, really does a great job with that. So we're very fortunate there.
Well, that's nice to hear. I think the counseling aide does it all, and Pam Burkett. Nobody would disagree with that. So, yeah, we do have a good team up there, and I think as a whole, I think the school really does take the needs of the students. So, Martinez will go down swinging for out number 1. We'll bring up Tyler Common.
The shortstop, number 18, Tyler.
So that sounds
Common.
like some interesting changes you've seen in your lifetime. You want to talk a little bit about some of the challenges you faced in your time?
Well, the most recent would have to do with funding. We try and do the best we can for our students and our teachers with the money that we have. And so, one thing that happens when you don't have funding is you have larger class sizes, and you have to cut back in certain areas. And so we always try and work around that and still maintain great instruction in the classroom for our kids.
Sure.
So that's a big challenge. We continue to work with that.
And it looks like Common is going to fist one and pop it up to the second baseman for out number 2. Here's the designated hitter, Caden Ysidro. And, Myron, this is my third stop, and I've never seen a district that was as good as a steward as this district is with money. Would you agree with that?
We try and make good use of the funds that we have and be efficient and yet be effective.
I think there's always been a vision here.
We try and do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's a very important part of leadership. I
agree.
I think we have to have a shared vision, so we've always emphasized that.
Seems to me like everything that needs to be done has already been thought of and there's a procedure for. And I know that leadership's a big part of that, and that's a big job to stay on top of all of that and to get out ahead of it.
And a big part of that's collaboration and taking ideas from other people and using ideas that, quite frankly, classroom teachers come up with. So.
Yeah, and our teachers are as good as anybody at coming up with things that we need to do.
Absolutely.
That's neat. Any other challenges that you, other than the cash? I mean, you went from a classroom teacher to a coach, and now you're the administrator of the high school.
Well, I think the other thing is that we've really been working on at the high school is to get students connected with a career, some sort of a plan after college after high school. And we all understand that may not be college, it might be tech school, it might be the military, but we really work hard on helping our kids make that connection and see into the future. And so that's one thing that we're working very hard on.
Yeah, I think the relevance piece is very important too. Isidro fouls that one. That'll make the seats on the left side. 3-2 now to Katie Isidro. Second and third, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Talking to Myron Regier, retiring after 38 years in the business, one of the best in the business. And you got to wonder whether or not, if you had to do it all over again, would you hire any Okies?
I think we've done well with Okies.
Okay, all right, good. Just wanted to,
is that the right answer?
Yeah, I think so. All right, Isidro going to pop that one up.
No errors.
And that'll do it for the Colts in the bottom of the first.
We played 13-1 Derby.
13-1 Derby. And we played 1. We're still talking to Myron Regier here. And we're talking about challenges over his career. Probably go on to the next question. If Randy Watson walked in here tonight, what would you tell him?
Well, this is something he knows about. We need to increase teacher pay. That's a big thing. I'd also tell him that I think that he's going the right direction. One of his big points of emphasis as Commissioner of Education has been college and career readiness. And I think he's definitely on the right track there, and I like that direction that our state is going. But we need to increase teacher pay, and he understands that too, and he's working for that.
If pay's not everything. We got a lot of teachers that absolutely positively love every second they're in this building, and they're working their rear ends off. And Kansas does pay pretty well. I'm coming from Oklahoma, so I've got really nothing to compare it to. However, I think Kansas has taken steps to get the college and career readiness going. So kids need a job after school. They can't stay here,
Yeah, and it needs to be something they're passionate about and they really love to do. And, none of us ever start on top. You have to work your way up, but if you can see that path and know where you're going, I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, if you get kids excited and passionate about school, I think you can make some changes. All right, we're going to go to the top of the second. Derby leads at 13-1. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Panthers. It'll be Johnson, Igo, and Adler. Looks like a new pitcher for the Colts. Rylan Walter will come in. He is a right-hander. We'll get some numbers on him in just a moment. Talking with Myron Regier. He is telling us a little bit about his 38-year career, which has been a good one. Any regrets?
Nope, absolutely not.
Not a one. I didn't figure.
So, leading off for the Panthers,
right move for me and my family.
Yep. So it's been a good gig the whole 38 years.
Correction number 8, left fielder Noah Johnson.
Let's see, who do we got? Noah Johnson's going to lead it off. He's 1 for 1 today, singled in the first and scored. We'll see if Rylan Walter can get things going. This is the 4th pitcher for the Colts, and we're in the top of the second. So anything else that you can do to get the best teachers?
Oh, you can recruit. One of the best recruiting tools that we have is to have our own teachers recruit their friends. And we've had quite a few of those here in the last 4 or 5 years. So that really helps a lot when that happens.
Yeah.
And so it's a good thing to see.
And that's going to be popped to center, and Johnson will be retired by Leslie, ranging to his right. Nothing easy out there in the
Top of the
outfield
order
today.
for Derby shortstop Hunter Igo.
Top of the order now, Hunter Igo. You know, I think one of the things I've noticed, you know, I've been here 10 years, we get everything we need. If we need something to get it done, not just cash, I'm not talking cash and money, we need something to get a job done, it's there.
Yep.
So I think that's one of the things that you can do to help bring them in. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got in here. Where do you see public education headed the next 20 years?
Well, I think the college and career readiness is going to be that'll be a big push. You know, I think that we'll come up with an effective funding formula for education and hopefully increasing teacher pay. I think the commissioner is really pushing for that, and I think the current governor agrees with that too. And so I think some of those pieces are in place. We'll see what happens.
Any thoughts on testing? Do you think that'll ever go away, or?
Well, we need to be accountable. I'm not completely against testing, but you know, at one point I think we did way too much of it, and so I think the pendulum is going back the other direction. So that's encouraging.
Cool. Looks like Igo will be retired. He will bounce to shortstop. Common comes up with it and throws him out, and here's Grant Adler. So Rylan Walter coming in and retiring the first two hitters of the order. That is good news for the Colts. Yeah, I agree with the accountability piece. I think you need some accountability. That, you know, there are more things than test scores, I believe. And I think, as Kayla said, with her hands-on learning, with her project-based learning, that's very important too.
There's a lot of different ways to test. You don't have to necessarily do with paper and pencil.
Sure.
You know? So
sure.
That's one thing that we're learning too.
Awesome. So, same question for campus. Where do you see campus in 20 years?
Well, we'll continue to grow. We add typically 20 to 50 students a year, and I think at some point the community is going to have to think about another high school.
Okay.
Or space.
No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base.
So I think that's going to be a big thing.
Second, 13-1. Campus trails.
Yeah, we are growing. Yeah, 25 to 50. That's a lot of kids, and so a new high school, that would be something that would be interesting. Would that drop us down and would that give us two high schools?
It depends on how they would do it,
Okay.
but typically most communities just would split it in half. You know, right now, one thing to think about, we have 180 out-of-district students, so we actually have a 3A high school
Okay.
within our school that's out-of-district
Okay.
students, and you know, that's an encouraging thing because that shows that people from the surrounding area want their kids to come to this school.
Sure.
And so those are typically great kids, and they're good students, and they're good for our student body. But we need to accommodate for that growth too, and so we need to keep a watchful eye on that.
Well, I think we have. We've built on, 3 times since I've been here in the last 10 years.
That's correct, yes.
And we now have safe rooms for every student, which is very encouraging. And again, that's that piece that anything we need, we get.
Right, that's correct.
So I think campus will be a pace setter in terms of college and career readiness. We've already got career cruising going. Marty Morey has that dialed in, and all of our kids have a graduation plan for 2 years post high school. So I think we're in a good place.
We've tried to get a good start this year. This was really the first year that we had fall college and career enrollment conferences, and so we had about 80% attendance.
That's very good
at those conferences, and that's pretty good for a high school. So that our community is very receptive to that.
Yep. Going to the bottom of the second, 7, 8, 9 for the Colts. It'll be Martins, Hahn, and Walter. Colts trail 13-1. Big 13-run inning for the Panthers in the first. Talking with Myron Regier, retiring after 38 years, telling us a little bit about what's next for him and campus. I don't think there's any reason why a family should not move to Kansas to raise their kids and put them in public education here. I don't see any reason why not.
In my mind, Kansas has always been a leader in public education.
I would agree with that.
You know, sometimes we take it for granted, but we do have a very good educational system.
I would agree. And Martin's going to lead it off, base hit up the middle, so just like that.
Corey
Campus
Hahn.
has the leadoff man on. Here's Corey Hahn, runner at first base and nobody out. Hahn playing right field today, hitting .263. So, education in Kansas is in a good place. It's moving in the right direction. Sounds like the leadership's in place with the governor and the state superintendent. College and career is off and running. So it sounds like things are in good shape for the next 20 years. Kind of shift gears here. If you have to hire a new administrator or coach or a teacher, what would you be looking for in that interview? What are some of the things that you look for over the years?
No, I think you need to look for somebody that's a people person.
Yep.
They have to relate well with both students and adults at the same time.
Sure.
And somebody that loves to work with students. That really helps. And see students succeed.
Sure. So keep it pretty simple.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not complicated. It's a simple business, really.
I don't think you're going to go wrong if you're just honest with kids and try to help them every chance you get. If you don't know what to do, you go find somebody that does.
And communicate with parents. You know, parents want the best for their kids.
Yeah.
And so if you sit down and talk with them with that in mind, that's a pretty powerful thing. If you work with parents for the best of students.
And Hahn bounces to third over to second for one. That'll take care of Martins over to first, not in time. Hahn runs very well, so Martins is forced at second base.
Walters, yes, right. Walter. Left fielder Ryan Walter.
One out. Hahn will reach on the fielder's choice. And here's Ryan Walter.
He's not the pitcher.
Oh, okay.
So do you think, now this is kind of off script a little bit, boss, but do you think that we work hard enough with, or the teacher prep program works hard enough about how to communicate with a parent?
I think we can make some improvements in that area. That's a difficult thing for a young teacher.
It really is.
It's some. I remember in those days, when I was a young teacher, a parent meeting would scare the daylights out of you.
Sure.
Because you always expect the worst, and usually it's not that way at all.
No.
It's like I said, almost all parents want what's best for their student, and when you sit down and have a good, honest discussion with them, it almost always turns out well. And so you learn that, though, and that's part of experience. And it's hard to give that experience.
Yeah, I don't know how you
in
would
college.
teach that.
Yeah,
I don't know how you would teach that.
You just kind of learn that as you go.
It looks like that Walter is going to ground into a 6-4-3 double play, and that'll end it for the Colts in the second. We've played two. Derby leads at 13-1. We go to top of the third, talking with Myron Regier, talking about education. He's telling us a little bit about what he looks for in new teachers and administrators and coaches. You've been around coaching a long time. What are some of the changes that you've noticed, good or bad or otherwise?
Two big things that I see. First of all, the opportunity for girls, for women.
Yep.
That has been a very positive thing. When I was in high school, and this is 72 to 76, my high school, Remington High School, by Whitewater, we had our very first girls basketball team, and they didn't have actual uniforms. They had those pennies that you wear in phys ed, and so that's how those girls started playing. And
was it 6-on-6?
so no, but we did have 6-on-6 in junior high.
Okay.
Right, but not in high school. So that's been very positive.
So
Our girls have a lot of opportunities, and that's fantastic. And I think the other thing is, we take care of our athletes a lot better than what we used to.
Yep.
Athletic training is much better than what it used to be. My last year in coaching in 1998, I still was taping every ankle that needed to be taped in practice. Let me tell you, that was not a good thing.
No, it was not a good thing.
So now at campus we have Dennis Monk, who's fantastic and
Yes.
does a great job with the athletic training, and he takes care of our athletes, and that's very
certainly
important.
does.
So we take better care of our kids.
Top of three, it'll be Searing, McGill, and Rodriguez. Searing goes down looking for out number one. And here's Alex McGill.
Number 9, Alex McGill, catcher.
Talking about some of the coaching challenges. They sports medicine has changed significantly. Any other improvements you've noticed?
Oh, I think we have more kids that get more opportunities. I think
Yes.
coaches play more students in team sports. When I was coming up, in basketball, for example, you'd play 6 or 7 guys at the most. And our coaches are playing. They find ways to play, anywhere from 9 to 12 kids on a regular basis,
Sure.
and have roles for them that are effective. And so I think in general that's a very positive thing.
It really is. Gets
Yeah.
a lot of kids in there.
Number 19, Bo Rodriguez.
McGill bounces out to the left side. Common throws him out. 2 outs now. We're in the top of the third. 13-1 Derby. Here is Bo Rodriguez. Reached on a fielder's choice in the first and walked, scored a couple of times, and takes a strike. Talking coaching with Myron Regier. And you see the coaching business continuing to improve. Anything that needs to be addressed?
Well, one of the big things that I don't know if you think about, but there's fewer secrets in coaching.
Yes.
Just because of social media. Anybody can find out what Brad Stevens for the Boston Celtics is doing in basketball. Make adjustments. What's happening with, what Bill Snyder's doing at K-State. That's not a secret. You can pick that up on social media. And so I think coaches are better educated than ever before because they share information, and the big-time coaches are willing to do that. That's the very positive part of that.
So there was a time when you had to drive to pick up tape?
Absolutely. That was my job as assistant football coach. I couldn't really do anything else. So every morning I would drive from Canton, Kansas to Newton, Kansas to get film developed on Saturday morning. So myself and all the other local assistants would be there waiting for film to get developed. And now, our coaches literally get on the bus and they download that game and they can watch it on the way home.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, when we were growing up, it was hard to get that Super 8 projector to run on the bus like that, so there was no breaking down film then.
And then half the time it would break, and they'd have to take tape and tape it together, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I did that.
It's amazing. And Derby will go in order. Bean will go down swinging, so Rylan Walter has shut the Panthers down for the second inning in a row, but they lead at 13-1. We go to the bottom of the third. We're talking to Myron Regier. Talking athletics, where do you think this athletics is headed in Kansas? Is it in a good spot, or is it moving in the right direction? Things need to be addressed?
I think our kids have a lot of opportunities. I think in some ways they're stretched too thin. It used to be that all the rules that we had promoted the 3-sport athlete, the multi-sport athlete. And it's tougher for kids and parents now. They've opened up coaching. And for years, I was part of the coaching community that pushed for that. We want to coach our kids all summer. Well, what's happened is kids are pulled many different directions, and it's difficult to play 3 sports because every coach wants their kid to be at the camp. They want them to be at this, they want to be at that. You literally have little time to go on family vacation, to do whatnot, and so that's difficult, and I feel like my opinion is we need to back that off a little bit, but that's difficult to do because now the horse is out of the barn,
Yeah,
so
hard
to
to put the
speak.
brakes on,
Yep.
I'm telling you. Family vacations are important.
Absolutely.
I assume you took
Center fielder
several of
number
those.
7.
We did.
Loaded them up and headed cross country.
And I still think it's important the kids work in the summer.
Sure.
You get a lot of great experience just by working.
Sure.
Yeah, I did.
That ball, man. Get out of here.
Bottom of
Get out.
third, and that's off the wall. That's Tanner Leslie. He led it off. He's around second, and will cruise into third with a leadoff triple.
That's a decent.
So Leslie is 2 for 2 today with a leadoff triple. Campus not going away. They trail 13-1 here in the bottom of the third.
The first baseman.
You hear coaches at the next level talk about how important it is for kids to play all sports. Is that something that you think that's important?
Absolutely. I really believe that. I think that's great for kids, and I think there are college recruiters, big-time college recruiters, that recruit kids with that idea in mind. They recruit the multi-sport athlete, and I do think that's very important.
So competition's important all year long, man.
Well, and I think you give different muscle groups a break too,
Yep.
instead of always isolating the same ones all the time. I think, from what I read and hear, I think that's important too.
I think there's a lot of times a kid will burn out if they're a one-sport kid before a three-sport kid will.
Right.
I just really believe that. So it sounds like the state of Kansas has got it going with athletics, and I think they have the kid in mind. Anything changes in terms of students? Have students changed since 1980? Some of the changes in students, or are they pretty much the same?
I think kids are pretty much the same. I tend to think that our kids today are better than we were growing up. I think
absolutely.
they have more empathy for other people. I think they're more community service oriented.
Yeah.
So I really love to see that with our kids. I see that with our kids at campus. They really care about other people a lot, and that's very encouraging.
Very important. Very important.
Because they are going to take care of us, you know.
They are in
Okay.
a nursing home,
Yeah.
hopefully, if they think about it. So Watkins bounces out to the left side, and Leslie will score. Here's Hartley, pops it down the left side, and that'll be hauled in by the left fielder Johnson for out number 2.
That was number 16, Jackson Hartley, bringing the plate number 20, the catcher, Mateo Martinez.
We're a little limited up here, boss, in terms of what we can see. We kind of have our spotters up here. Here's Mateo Martinez, 2 outs, 1 run across, 13-2 now, Derby. So kids have pretty much stayed the same. They're more empathetic. I agree with that. I do think they're more caring. What about parents?
We have a lot of good parents.
We do.
Parents really, they have this issue with social media that the kids do too.
Yeah.
And that is a tough thing to manage.
That is a tough.
And there aren't a lot of easy answers there. So if I were bringing up kids, and all 3 of my kids are grown now, but that would be an issue that you would have to deal with and talk with them about. I think you try and teach etiquette and how to work with that, but it's not always easy. And so the other side of that is that
we go to the 4th.
Parents like coaches can share a lot of information about
Sure.
how to effectively raise a student and just a human being. So
I do believe that parents are a big part of the educational process,
you bet.
and we have some good ones.
Absolutely.
Well, that'll do it for the Colts. Martinez will strike out looking. That's his second strikeout of the game. And we go to the top of the 4th. Derby leads at 13-2. Talking with Myron Regier, we're talking education. Parents are a very important tool in the old toolbox. And pretty much everybody stayed the same. Social media is a biggie. Our community is very involved.
We have a great community, don't we?
If you had to go consult in a school district that was struggling with that, what would you tell them?
If they're struggling with that probably means that they're not involved with what is going on in the school. I think the more involved you are, the more supportive you are of a school, and so I think that's the trick, to get community members and parents involved with school.
Yep, that is certainly the key. I mean, that would be that would take a complete culture change.
Yes.
To get that started.
And it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it
I
really
think it's something that's gradual, and you build that up over a number of years.
I think the neat thing about campus, and I'm sure it's that way in the rest of the building, if a parent calls and wants a meeting, it'll happen real quick.
Yes. We try and accommodate them in every way we can.
Our teachers are calling back parents and they're emailing parents, so that's very important. So get them to buy in. Where are we going? Top of the 4th here, boss.
Number 5, second baseman, Brett
Derby leads at
Westerman.
13-2. Who do we got here? Looks like 6, 7, and 8. Westerman, Jacobs, and Paxson. And Westerman takes a strike. Westerman 2 for 2, a triple in the first and scored. Singled in the second. And he's in the hole, 0-2. You're closing it out. Is there anything you wanted to accomplish?
Well, I think the one thing that bugs me, I guess, in the time I'm leaving, we did not make a lot of gains on ACT scores, and so in my mind, I think we have more work to do at campus, and I'm talking about composite ACT scores, and there's a lot involved with that, and I think we have a lot of things in place, but I wish that we would have increased those more, and that's important because that's where the money is for kids and parents, and so I've always wanted to get that a little bit higher than what it is. So that's the one. If you ask for one thing that I would like to improve, it would be that.
Looks like we're going to have a little break in the action. Looks like home plate umpire out to discuss a situation with the first base coach. And look like maybe warnings for both sides.
Somebody's barking in the dugout.
I think it was maybe directed towards the Derby contingent. That is bounced to the left side. That's Alex Jacobs. And Common up with it over to first in time for out number 2. And this is the third inning in a row that Ryland Walter is getting Derby in order. 2 outs now.
Number 22, Braden Paxton.
Here's Braden Paxton. So how do you think we get that ACT composite score up around an average of, let's say, 21? What do you think? A couple things that might need to happen.
I think practice is a big part of it. Just the sheer number of times you take it, and I think instruction that's heavy in writing tends to improve that.
Okay.
So those, off the top of my head, those are the top 2 things I think we need to think about. And we've done some things there already in that regard.
And I think if we continue to educate the parents about this is the game that they play, they're looking for ACT scores and GPA. And that's what they're looking for when they give out money.
Right, absolutely. That's where the scholarship money is.
Do we need to start taking it earlier?
That would help. Yeah. And there are some kids now that take it in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
That may be a little bit too early.
Might be.
I think certainly in the freshman year is not too early.
Okay.
Freshman year, a couple times in the sophomore year.
Okay.
And then take some workshops and those types of
Number
things.
8, Noah Johnson.
Well, repetition's important. And Braden Paxton gets a 2-out base hit. He will be at first base. Here's Noah Johnson. He's the 9-hole man hitting .250. He is 1 for 2 today. And he takes the ball. Any other thoughts on the old ACT scores?
That's about it.
That's about it. I think we got a lot of good things in place. So that leads us to our final thought on today. And what's next for you? That is driven to center field. That might get over the head of Leslie. And it will.
Well, number 1, my daughter's getting married this summer.
Yes.
So July 20, that's a big day. So
It is a big day.
She's getting married in California, so that'll be the first retirement trip for my wife and I.
That'll be great.
Heading out to my daughter's wedding. So we're going to take our time coming back, and so we'll combine that wedding celebration with the trip.
And it will be a celebration.
Absolutely.
Top of the order, here's Hunter Igo. Runner at third, 2 outs. Derby scores again. They lead it 14-2. We're in the top of the 4th. So going out to California and having a wedding. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, yes. Looking forward to it.
And do a little farming.
That's correct. Yeah, my family has farmland east of Newton, and so I will. I'm going to start taking care of that. That's in Marion and Butler County, so that's on the table. That's something my brother and I plan on doing in retirement.
Okay.
2 in the 4th.
And that's a base hit for Igo. He'll drive in another run.
15.
That's 15-2 now. We're in the 4th.
Number 3, Grant Adler, pitcher.
Do you have any plans to maybe expand more land or keep the same amount, or
I think that remains to be seen.
maybe a cow-calf operation?
Probably not that much
Okay.
work. That's a lot of work.
Then you got to
This
go out
is-
there
this
every
is
day.
this is retirement,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. You don't have to go out there every day if you don't want to. And that one gets away from Martinez, and the runner will go down to third. So it sounds like the farming gig is well underway, and this last moisture we got
That helped.
That helped.
That helped.
significantly.
Yes. We need some more. This wind will dry things out, but that will definitely help.
Last question I have: did you get the tomatoes in the ground?
Yes, I did
All
this
right,
weekend.
All right, good. All
And
right.
peppers.
Just checking to make
Yeah.
sure, because the entire neighborhood wants to know. Kayla, do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to know?
I think he answered it all.
Did he? He usually
Yeah.
answers it all.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. But I think there's good things to come, and I couldn't have had a better guy to work for, to be honest with you. And I've worked for a lot of people, but I'm telling you what, I got everything I needed.
Well, feelings mutual. We have a lot of great people at campus.
Yes, we do.
And kids.
Yes,
and
we do.
It's a good working environment.
Our kids are different, and our teachers are different. That's just what I'm just telling you that. So, anything else you want our listeners to know? But anything, other things you're thinking about doing besides doing some traveling?
That's about it, I think.
I think it's going to
Yeah.
be great.
Oh,
That is a drive to center field. Leslie just gets over his head, and Adler will be in there. Well, he's not stopping at second. He's into third, and that'll be a stand-up triple for Grant Adler. Another run will score, and that'll make it 16-2. So the Derby hitters today, boss, are just having their way with our pitching. And it looks like
this guy needs to shut up.
Coach is going to go out there, and
He's gonna get rough.
looks like we're going to make a change. We've been here with Myron Gear. He's celebrating 38 years of education, and he's going to call it quits here June the 30th.
That's right. June 30th is the last day. Yeah.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time and stopping by today. I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
And I am so
Thank you,
glad that I
Kayla.
got to work for you 10 years. And come back. We'll put you to work.
Alright, I got one last question.
All right, here it comes.
Uh-oh.
Who's your favorite student?
Oh, my.
Should I say Kayla? Is that the
I
correct
think
answer?
that's the right
That
answer.
is the right
Okay.
answer.
Awesome.
I gave the right answer. All
All
right.
right.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, boss, we sure appreciate
Okay,
your time
thanks a
today.
lot.
Enjoy the rest of the game. And we'll see you at the playoffs. Because we're going to be right there. We're going to put
Thanks,
this one
guys.
behind the back.
Hey, I have a handshake made up, so
You
I'll
do?
come in tomorrow and show you
Okay.
it.
All right.
You need to work on that for graduation. So Kayla
Yeah.
says
They tell me.
there is a graduation
We'll see you
handshake.
guys.
All right, thank you, boss.
Yes.
You need to turn the air conditioner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Looks like we're going to have a pitching change, Kayla. Who is it?
Now pitching number 23, Cole Martins.
Looks like it's going to be Cole Martins will come in.
Yep.
He will come in. There's a Derby with a 16-2 lead. We're in the top of the fourth, 2 outs. Pretty much Johnny Holstaff today, Kayla.
Whatever that means.
That means everybody. That means we might have to get loose later.
Oh my goodness. Put me in, coach.
I'm ready to play. Put me in, coach.
Me too.
Cole Martins with a third of an inning of work so far this year. He's given up 3 runs, a walk, and hit a guy, and given up 1 hit. So not a whole lot of
Playing third
numbers.
for Derby, center fielder number 10, Jackson Searing.
He'll face Searing. If anybody gets on, be McGill after that. Derby leads at 16-2. You just heard a exclusive. Oh, and that was behind the hitter, and a run will score. So a wild pitch. Adler will score,
+1 in the fourth.
and that'll make it 17-2 Derby.
17.
This one might just get away from us, Kayla. Just finished up an exclusive interview with Myron Regier. He is finishing up a fantastic 38-year career in education. Classroom teacher, coach, administrator, athletic director. That is fouled back. 1-1 now to Searing. And the 1-1, here it is. That catches the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs. 4 across so far this inning for Derby after 2 quick outs. That's inside, almost hit him. Martinez having a little trouble getting the ball back to the pitcher. And that is fisted foul. That got in his kitchen and broke all his dishes. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs, top of the 4th. It's been all Derby so far. They lead at 17-2. Todd Hook along with Kayla Jost. We just got done with an interview. That one, they're going to make him stay there. Looks like he leaned into that one. Tosses the bat away. And the umpire is going to call him back. So Searing trying to
It doesn't matter. It's 2 strikes anyway.
get first base on that one, but that hit him.
It's 2-2.
But did not make an attempt to get out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's see if Martins can get out of it. That is inside. It must have been 3-2, so that is a 2-out walk for Searing.
Pinch. I think we're going to pinch hitter. 20.
Alex McGill is
20. Drew Maddox. Your attention, please. Now batting for Derby number 20, Drew Maddox. Maddox pitch hitting for the Panthers.
looks like we'll have a pinch hitter. Drew Maddox will come in to hit for the Panthers, right-handed hitter. See if we have some numbers on him. He's only played in 8 games and 12 plate appearances. He's hitting .500. And Derby is off with the pitch.
Why would you run?
17-2. Pitch. Ball gets away
Are you kidding me?
from the second baseman, and down to third is Searing. Searing with a stolen base. Up 17-2. And Maddox with a chance to drive in
That's bullcrap.
what would be the 14th insurance run, Kayla. (17-2) now Derby. We're in the top of the 4th. All these runs have come with 2 outs. That is wide.
So maybe 1-1 now.
Yeah.
A ball and a strike to Maddox. Maddox hits in the 4th for McGill. And that's inside. 2 balls and a strike. 2 outs. Runner at third base. Playing him to pull, shading him over towards left field. That is up the middle for a base hit. And another run will score.
Get out of the way. Okay, so 5.
So that's a base hit for Maddox.
And
He is aboard with 2 outs.
and 10 hits.
And this will be the 9th man to bat in the order. Bo Rodriguez scheduled to hit. We will see who it is. Looks like time is called. Look like they're making a change. Third base coach in to make the change with the home plate umpire.
So the plate's going to be 7. That's a pinch hit.
Derby leads at 18-2. It's been all Derby. So far, they've thrown up a couple of zeros in the second and the third, but get 9 in the first and 5 so
At the
far.
plate's going to be number 7, Brett Leon. Leon at the plate. Pinch runner on there. That's what I mean.
Looks like we will have a pinch hitter. Looks like Leon will pinch hit. He is a senior. Only been in 5 ball games. Is still looking for his first base hit. He will step in from the left side. Kind of a scorebook nightmare here with all these changes. We'll keep up the best we can, Kayla.
Yeah.
First pitch to Leon. That's foul straight back. Strike 1.
Girls, do that.
Leon is the 9th man to hit here in the 4th. Runner at first base. That is in there. A good strike at the knees. 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at first base. All Derby so far. They lead at 18-2. That is a weak grounder up the middle. Common takes it, steps on the bag, and that'll do it. So 9-man bat in the order. 5
Derby
runs
scores 5 in the
for
4th.
Derby. Played 3.5, 18-2.
We go about an
Derby.
half
We'll be
for the
right
fourth
back.
game. 18-2, Derby leads. Well, we should only have another inning and a half.
Alrighty, so now it's time for the Colt Athletic Roundup. What's happening in campus athletics? April 30th, which is today, we have varsity and JV tennis at Salina Central. On May 1st, we have a JV track meet at Mays and Newton, as well as a varsity and JV game at Salina South, a varsity and JV softball at Salina South, varsity and JV girls soccer at Salina Central, so it's a busy day. May 2nd, we have the senior athletic banquet at 6:30 in the Commons. May 3rd, varsity golf at Winfield, JV track at Bishop Carroll, and girls soccer at home versus Newton. And May 4th, we have regional boys tennis, JV golf at Newton, varsity track at Derby, varsity JV softball home versus Arc City.
Get one out of here.
May 3rd, we also have market day, so bring your money.
All right.
The Colts are 18, the
Thank you,
shortstop,
Caleb.
Tyler Comment.
Hey, we're going to the bottom of the 4th. It'll be Common, Isidro, and Martins. Hey, this is the home run inning.
Oh,
So
it is.
any Colt that hits a home run will be half-price smoothies tomorrow. So we did have a home run in the last home game, and that swung on and fouled back. Common popped up to the second baseman in the first. Adler continues to work for Derby, pretty much facing just a smidge over the minimum. That is bounced to the right side. Westerman up with it, over to first in time, and Common is retired.
We got a pitch hitter. The 35. Carl. How do you pronounce it?
Denisha.
Carl Denisha, right? Pitch hitting for the Colts, number 35, Carl Denisha.
Looks like a pinch hitter for the Colts. Carl Denisha will step in. Steps in from the right side, hitting .333 on the season. Scored 3 times. First pitch to him from Adler. Swung on and missed. Good healthy cut there by Denisha. It's been all Derby so far. They lead at 18-2. We're in the bottom of the 4th. And the pitch from Adler swung on and missed. Good healthy cut there by Denisha. Just came up empty. He's in the hole 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. Bottom of the 4th. Campus got a run in the first and the third. And that's swung through and missed. And Denisha goes down swinging on 3 pitches.
Number 23, pitcher Cole Martins.
Third strikeout of the game for Adler. He's only given up 5 hits. Here's Cole Martins.
Oh!
And he will wear that one. That one's inside. So Martins will wear that one. He'll be awarded first base. He is 1 for 1. He had a base hit in the second. This is
Pitch hitting number 10, Dylan Hopkins.
Here is Dylan Hopkins. 500, or actually he's batting 1,000. He's 1 for 1.
Is that a strike?
Yes, ma'am. That one.
Fouls the first pitch back, strike 1. No balls and a strike. Good lead over there by Martins. Swung through and missed. And the pitch to Hopkins. That misses low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Kaylee, you got to think that maybe that we better regroup next game and make it a better group. That is bounced to the right side, flips to short with the short way, and he is retired.
We go to the top half of the 5th inning, 18-2, Derby leads.
And we've played 4, 18-2 Derby. We'll be right back after this one. I think Kayla's got some this day in baseball history if you want it.
It must be.
What do we got over there, Kayla?
Alrighty, so
Next
in
game.
It's looking like game.
Looks like that will be a run rule victory. We'll get to this day in baseball history during game number 2. 18 runs, 10 hits for Derby, 2 runs and 5 hits for Campus. Winning pitcher is Adler, and Luke Sherman will be targeted with a loss. Very disappointing game for the Colts. Hopefully they can bounce back. Kayla, next time we'll let you talk a little bit about this week in baseball as soon as we get done here. So we'll have the game 2 coming up here in about 15 minutes. You want to tune back in. I'm Todd Hook, Kayla Jost. We'll see you in about 15.